A day of total dominance for the Indian cricket team. At stumps on day 3, Bangladesh may be 42 for no loss, but they need an additional 471 runs to win this match. Kuldeep Yadav's 5 wicket haul, centuries from Shubman Gill and Cheteshwar Pujara, and in short, a day of total dominance for the Indian cricket team that has seen them take full control of this match in Chattogram. Bangladesh, on the other hand, looked totally deflated in the field, did not attack, just let the game meander away, and that is why now they are facing a very uphill task of trying to save this test match in 6 sessions. Remember, day 4, 3 sessions, day 5, 3 sessions, and that is how Bangladesh will have to hope that they can either get close to the total or survive. Both look highly unlikely at this point in time, although Nazmul Hossain Shanto and the opening partnership has managed 42 runs. On day 4, it will not be an easy chase because the pitch is already staying very low, some balls are turning square, and there is a bit of sluggish pace in this deck. So let me just recap for all of you the day that has been for India. Bangladesh were bowled out for 150 with Kuldeep Yadav finally taking a 5 wicket haul. The first that he's taken after that haul in Sydney. And after that it was the Gill and Pujara show. And Rahul, nothing went wrong for India apart from...
Why do you look so taller than me?
I think I am taller.
No, you are taller, but
If you come a bit closer, maybe perhaps, or
actually
if I
you-
go
yeah,
back...
Yes.
Yes. I'm back. So that is why, apart from KL Rahul's form with the bat and that declaration, a perfect day for the Indian cricket team.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that, it's debatable. It's debatable, although we here on Sports Today, since yesterday, I've been discussing whether India will enforce the follow-on or not. In the morning, they took a call, but you can always debate. But then the result, I think, was a given that you knew that India most likely will win this test match. So India chose to give some practice to their players. That also included KL Rahul. Unfortunately, he missed out. But as you said, perfect day for the batters, especially Pujara and Shubman Gill. For Shubman Gill, of course, a milestone that he will cherish forever. His first test 100. And he missed out in Brisbane where he scored 91 in that great win that India had against Australia. And then for Cheteshwar Pujara also, 2019, Sydney.
Yes.
In January 2019, he got his last 100. And this innings that he played today was a very un-Pujara sort of an innings.
Close to 70 strike rate. And look, 2 players from that Sydney test of 2019 had a point to prove. One was Cheteshwar Pujara, the other was Kuldeep Yadav. Remember, 5 for 99 he took in that test match. And since then, the struggles that he had, the lack of confidence being dropped from both his IPL franchisee and from the Indian cricket team, from such a meteoric rise all the way to a mighty drop. Now with 5 for 40, his best haul so far in Test cricket. I think both players from that Sydney game have made a point today.
Absolutely. And for Pujara, see, there was a time not too long ago when it seemed all over for Cheteshwar Pujara. Even Virat Kohli, during his tenure as captain, had publicly in a press conference had questioned the intent of a few players. Of course, he didn't take those names,
Yes.
but everybody could figure out who he was referring to. Of course, Cheteshwar Pujara was one of them. And see, Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane. Ajinkya Rahane couldn't make a comeback for Pujara. What went in his favor was that I remember, when he was picked for Chennai Super Kings, everybody was so happy. They appreciated.
There was a standing ovation.
Exactly, they appreciated Chennai Super Kings' call to have Cheteshwar Pujara in their team. But unfortunately for Pujara, it didn't help him.
It was 10 steps back for him.
And exactly, and that is when he realized the next year he opted out of those auctions, and he went to England and got runs under his belt.
4 consecutive centuries,
Exactly,
if I'm not mistaken.
and you know you can always debate and discuss as to the kind of bowling attack that he was facing, but for him runs mattered. And when India toured England for that remaining one test match, they thought that it is always better to have a Cheteshwar Pujara who's been there in England playing county cricket and getting runs, to have him in the 11. That went in his favor. He did, of course, India
He
lost.
hit a 50.
India lost that test match, but thereafter that got him a lease of life, and he has just stamped his authority and has once again, I think, has revived his career.
Absolutely. And remember, this is the Pujara that India will need against a much tougher opponent in a couple of months' time, that is Australia. And remember, whenever you look at Australia and Pujara, it has been a heroic effort by Pujara. Be it 2017, that epic that he had against them in Ranchi with that partnership with Ridhiman Saha. Then you look at 2019 and 2020, 2021, stonewalled them, ground them to the ground. And now in 2022, when India potentially need 3 or 4 wins now against Australia, he could be the difference maker.
Exactly, and especially India, of course, will present the Aussies with the slow rank turners, and Pujara is one of the better players against spin. So you might need a Pujara there,
Yes.
and against Australia. And for Shubman Gill, despite this century, if Rohit Sharma is coming back for the second test, unfortunately, it will be very unfair, but that has been the norm. Shubman Gill will have to sit out of that second test, and will have to let Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul open the innings.
There was a lot of comments from our family members that why Shubman Gill has to go. Because see, he's hit 100, 110, 11 fours, 3 sixes, looked in prime touch against the spinners, tackled them brilliantly. Not, of course, boosted big time by Bangladesh's very defensive fields. But why Shubman has to go? Because there is no other option. Will you want to drop KL Rahul for Mirpur?
No, it doesn't happen.
Yes.
He's the vice captain of this Indian team. I remember, when India toured New Zealand recently. So what happened? Everybody was saying, Sanju Samson should come in. Samson should come in. But the problem was that Rishabh Pant was your vice captain, and they chose not to drop their vice captain, and rightly so. At least in that case, I still can't say, because see, could have been, it could have been for KL Rahul to not enforce the follow on. Of course, it wasn't his. He didn't take that decision unilaterally. He must have discussed with Rahul Dravid, other members of the support staff, and of course a few senior players, including Virat Kohli, and they must have arrived at a conclusion that we should bat again. See, result is a foregone conclusion here. So why not get some runs? But KL Rahul, that's the convention in Indian cricket. Shubman Gill will have to make way. It has happened in the past, and KL Rahul himself, I remember not too long ago in a press conference, he said, I don't remember who he was referring to, but in that case also he said that when senior players, experienced players, they come back, you'll have to vacate places for them.
Yes, absolutely. But many people said that, see, India could afford to drop Ajinkya Rahane, who was the vice captain. But I think Rahane's lack of runs did not help him, although that century that he hit in Melbourne was a game changer. It changed the entire series.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, many people didn't seem to like the long rope that Rahane had, because same patch as Pujara, 3 to 4 years didn't score a big century apart from that one in Australia. But it's strange. What do we do with the Indian cricket team management and their selections is one big headache. And Shubman, as Rahul said, unfortunately will have to sit out once Rohit comes back and is cleared to play in Mirpur.
If and when he comes back.
Exactly. And that is the thing. And there was one comment by Mayank Pokhriyal giving IPL auditions. Mayank, I hope no IPL team picks Cheteshwar Pujara for a simple reason. The last time he was picked by Chennai Super Kings, he didn't play much and he didn't even manage to play county cricket. And that set... His name is in there. Thank goodness.
So
Thank goodness.
that's what I was saying. You know,
Yeah.
it's not up to the franchisee. It's a call that Cheteshwar Pujara has to make, whether he wants himself to be whether he wants himself to make to be available for the auctions, and he has chosen not to.
Yep. But Neelakandan is like putting some water into this fire that is there. We shouldn't come to conclusions looking at the performances against Bangladesh. But Neelakandan, isn't that unfair? Because you're playing against an opponent, some players don't even capitalize on that. At least 2 players here have capitalized. But again, do we make the mistake that, okay, you scored against Bangladesh in Bangladesh? Should you consider it highly?
See, runs are runs. For a player, for an individual, these are runs. A century is a century. After all, even Sachin Tendulkar got his 100th 100 in Bangladesh against Bangladesh in a losing cause.
Yep.
So, for it, Shubman Gill didn't choose his opponent. He was offered a job to do, and he's done it pretty well. And playing against minnows like Bangladesh, who in the recent past have done very, very poor as far as Test cricket is concerned. Barring those wins against Zimbabwe and New Zealand, they haven't won virtually nothing in the last 3-4 years.
Yes.
So in fact, I was discussing with somebody, and somebody actually told me, you should snatch away their Test status. So anyways, but the fact is, it's a double-edged sword. When you play against minnows, if you score runs, they'll say what our friend Neelakandan is saying, that you've scored against Bangladesh, minnows, a mediocre team, a mediocre bowling attack, and if you don't score runs, then you will say, Bangladesh ke against bhi nahi mara, you didn't manage to score even against Bangladesh. So it's a very tricky sort of a situation, which I think KL Rahul is facing right now, and same is the case with Shubman Gill and Cheteshwar Pujara. Now people would be saying, Bangladesh ke against to mara hai Pujara and Shubman Gill, but then there are others who didn't manage to get those runs.
Yep. Meet Sony with a question: why Ashwin is not taking wickets? Why is he not using different variations like leg spin, googly? He tries leg spin, but in Test cricket, no use. Different variation ball. Meet Sony. It's a mystery. I mean, see, on this wicket, which is tailor-made for Ashwin's bowling, why has he not taken a single wicket? That is a big mystery in itself. Because in Test cricket, we all thought, okay, his white ball form could be pushed into the background, but not a single wicket. And even here, the left-handers, Ashwin has dismissed more left-handers in history of Test cricket than anybody else, even the great Muttaya Muralidharan as well. Here, Nazmul Hossain Shanto managed to easily tackle him. So that is why something is amiss with Ashwin, and I hope it's just a one-off, because if he doesn't perform well in Mirpur, then the calls to drop him for the Australia series could grow louder.
Neelakandan, we got your point, don't worry.
Yeah. Rohit Roy is saying, Williamson steps down from Test captaincy, he's still white ball captain. So India also try separate captains in separate formats. Well, we are almost coming into that.
You'll see it soon.
You'll see it soon, because there is a big push for Hardik Pandya to be made the white ball captain.
So see, Hardik Pandya will be your T20 captain from here on. As far as ODIs are concerned, I think you'll wait till the 2023 World Cup. Once that 2023 ODI World Cup is over, most likely Hardik Pandya will take over the captaincy in both ODIs and T20s.
Absolutely. What about Hanuma Vihari? Pradeep Shivalsan, again, what wrong did Hanuma Vihari do?
Unfortunate.
He was the one, along with Ashwin, who played out that heroic draw in Sydney. After that, not been considered at all. I mean, everybody is asking, give me one more chance. Karun Nair, Jaydev Unadkat, one more chance, red ball, I will do you proud. What wrong did the likes of Kuldeep Yadav and the likes of Hanuma Vihari do? We just do not understand this fact about the Indian cricket team. The ruthlessness is probably impacting the wrong players. You should reward the players who helped you save Test matches and win Test matches, not just chuck them out like that.
And these are players. When you talk about Hanuma Vihari, he batted when you needed him the most. Melbourne, you asked him to open the innings. Every time there were tough conditions, you got Hanuma Vihari to
open with Mayank Agrawal.
Open, and even in the middle order also. But then when it came to playing in India, he's hardly played any test. In fact, 2 test matches in India, because that's where the runs were. So for Hanuma Vihari also, you replaced Ajinkya Rahane with Shreyas Iyer. Then there was a time when you thought that even Cheteshwar Pujara was on the verge of being chucked out of the Indian Test team, and at that time also, we were all discussing about who could possibly take over those spots. Shreyas Iyer was one for Rahane, and then we said, KL and Rohit can open. Then number 3 could be your Shubman Gill.
Yep.
But nobody talked about Hanuma Vihari, unfortunately. So that's the unfortunate case of Hanuma Vihari.
Very unfortunate. Paulson Xavier is like asking us, India should have brought in Kuldeep early despite going with Ashwin. And the hint that needs to find a replacement for Ashwin. He was scoring runs. However, not significant contribution with the ball. Paulson Xavier, I will just say wait for the Mirpur test to end. After that, if he does not perform, Ashwin.
No, Ashwin, yaar. Ashwin is, on the basis, he's won you many matches. Ashwin is a
From
proven performer.
2013 to 2017 in India, he was your gun spinner along with Ravindra Jadeja. So
He has been your primary spinner for all these years. So on the basis of one test match, obviously we will not. Yeah, you can always debate and argue whether he is the greatest spinner that India has seen. Going by the conditions. But at home, he is he's a star performer. He's won you matches closing in on 450 wickets, fastest to do. In fact, fastest Indian to do so.
Yeah.
So let's not judge him on the basis of one performance. Yeah, you can always appreciate the performance from Kuldeep Yadav, the way he bowled.
Yes.
He showed big heart. Trying to come back into the Indian team, trying to make a statement, and he's done well for himself.
Absolutely.
And as far as Ashwin is concerned, I think it will take Ashwin will have to underperform for quite a number of tests to be ousted from that Indian team. So don't worry, Ashwin.
yes, and there was one more. AB Anubhav was like, why World Test Championship final has been held in England every time? Doesn't it give unfair advantage to Sena teams over teams from the Indian subcontinent? But AB Anubhav, if you look at it, India's record, if you say in England, last time they played, it was 2-2. One bad session that they had in that World Test Championship, they picked the wrong team, yet again in an ICC event, and that is what cost them the game against New Zealand in Southampton. But apart from that, 2023 will be at the Oval, 2025 at Lords, so can't help it. Absolutely can't help it.
And you tell me one thing, would you want to watch a test match here in India? Just asking you.
And you cannot have a test match in New Zealand. Will you wake up at 3 a.m.? You won't have a ping ball test definitely in the World Final. Australia might be an opportunity. South Africa maybe. But South Africa, you won't get that much of crowd. England, you will get crowd.
Exactly.
The timings and the conditions, the visual, everything is great. So that's how it is. And tomorrow, we are all geared up. Can India take 10 wickets tomorrow itself and finish the match, or will Bangladesh put up a fight? It remains to be seen. So we'll be back tomorrow for the India versus Bangladesh day 4 and hopefully the last day of the test. But FIFA World Cup action will be we'll be building up to it. Press the like, comment and share button. We are also on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thank you. Bye-bye. Vanakkam.